Hi everyone, I'm Rich Noonan. Welcome to Builder Spotlight Television on the banks of a very windy Lake Michigan. We are in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, a beautiful town, and we are in search of America's best builders, and we have found one of them here. The Pekarske Builders story, next on Builder Spotlight. The first thing you notice when you see a Pekarske home is that they are different from all of the others in a neighborhood. Different in a great way. Pekarske builds a very nice looking home, big on curb appeal, and little architectural details that turn a house into a warm, wonderful home.
We do our own design work here in-house, so maybe what you're seeing there is some of our little attention to detail. So we might see something, we might put it on a house, and then you may not, as a consumer, really see what exactly we did, but you notice it. You say, there's something different about that house. That's the kind of things we do.
Once you get inside a Pekarske home and start talking to Pekarske home buyers, you realize that aside from the good looks, these homes really work. They are among the most energy efficient homes in the country. Mark Pekarske graduated from the University of Wisconsin with an engineering degree. But after a year and a half on the desk, he had to move outside to home building. And he and his brother Dave built a great company. With the roots of Pekarske Builders in engineering, the company's homes reflect the cutting edge of efficiency and operate as complete systems.
That's exactly what we talk about, and it's how we do it. All the classes we go to is the house operating as a system. And the way that works is one thing affects another thing. So if you tighten up the house, then you got to make it breathe. You tighten up the house, and maybe it gets more moisture. So you have to deal with all those things. But with our education and the training that we keep going to, we know how to take care of that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely, that's how it kind of works.
One of the ways Pekarske Homes is able to assure efficiency is great planning. Mark uses state-of-the-art computer-aided design programs. The proper heating and cooling loads are all part of that design. In fact, Pekarske has been selected as one of America's most energy-efficient builders.
The 2007 Builder of the Year, State of Wisconsin, was given to us by the governor. And what it was an energy efficiency award. There's only one builder in the whole state that gets it, and in 2007 we got that award. So it was a huge thing.
Chuck Storm and his wife had Pekarske build their stunning home in Cato. Outside it has many cool little details, and inside it's like a designer showplace. Really a beautiful home. Chuck works at the nuclear plant. He understands energy issues, and he loves the way his home performs. He says Mark Pekarske won't let his team hammer a nail if it does not make the house more efficient.
He is meticulous with fit-ups, with insulation, with how things are going to end up. And all the design changes we made, he did with an eye towards efficiency. If I mentioned I wanted to move the fireplace over here to this corner, he would say we can do that, but we have to look at these aspects as well. I spend less heating and cooling this house than I did my old house, which was 1,000 square feet less and did not have an AC unit. So to me it's impressive what can be done when somebody's paying attention to the job.
I want to urge you to give Pekarske Builders a call, even if you're just considering building a new home or doing a great remodel. If you need a basement finished, a fantastic new kitchen or bath, give Pekarske a call now. You'll get a great job at a fair price. Get Pekarske involved early in the process if you can. If you're shopping for a lot, for example, call Pekarske up front, because where you place that home is very important. Mark Pekarske can tell you if the lot you're considering is a good choice for your home.
It's always nice to understand what's going on with the land, the lots. Will this house they're envisioning work on that lot? So if all of a sudden they buy the lot, and the house they want won't fit on the lot, or it's not going the right orientation with the sun, which is a big thing with the homes we build. You know, we want to take advantage of the sun, especially in Wisconsin. It's a heating degrees is the biggest thing. So we really want to take care of the heating season. So if we can take advantage of some solar heat gain throughout the day, that's going to affect the heat bills tremendously. And in the summertime, we don't have a lot of super hot days, so we're not worried so much about the cooling load, although we take care of the cooling load, and it's a smaller bill.
I don't want to suggest for a moment that the only reason to hire Pekarske Builders is because they're a leader in energy efficiency across the country, but it simply can't be overlooked when you talk to Pekarske clients such as Brad and Terry Meissen. Their Pekarske home in Cato is beautiful and incredibly energy efficient. They spend about $200 a month total to run this large home. They have a pellet stove, a geothermal system, and lots of insulation from beneath the foundation throughout the home. They loved working with Pekarske builders because they needed a lot of hand-holding. This was their first new home build.
We had a lot of questions because we had never built before, so we had a lot of questions. And I mean, Mark even came over a couple of times at night and sat down and met with us and went over everything that we had questions on so that we understood how this works.
A lot of Brad's questions were about energy savings.
The house, we figured out a 12-month average of somewhere around $200. That's with the pellets, natural gas, electricity for the geothermal, and the rest of the house. It's been actually quite nice. We haven't spent, I don't think, more than $500 on propane. Wow. And we're going on 2.5 years, almost 3 years in this house.
Any builder is only as good as his or her subcontractors, vendors, and construction partners. Mark Pekarske's been in the home construction business since he was a 15-year-old kid working with his uncle. He knows the best people out there, and he only uses the best. Kiel Building Supply is one of them.
I've been dealing with Kiel Building Supply probably for the last 5 years now, and they are just fantastic to deal with. They have specialty people. So I have one guy I deal with for interior doors, one guy for exterior doors, another guy for siding and roofing. A great cabinet shop. We buy almost all of our cabinets from them. They have a good designer. She does a great job with it. So just about everything we do, they have specialty people involved. It's not just like I'm dealing with one salesperson. I get to deal with everyone, and that's what I like about the company. It's a small company. They have probably 3 different building supply places, and they just do a great job, and that's why we like going there.
Kiel Building Supply has its own cabinet designer and cabinetry manager, and a huge inventory for both builders and homeowners. If you need building supplies of all kinds, call Kiel. Mark says the guys at Kiel totally understand the concept of superior service. They do whatever it takes to help him get the job done right every time.
I would say Kiel Building Supply is a very competitively priced building supplier. They do a great job. I think almost any building supply place can supply materials, but it comes down to service, and we don't get any better service than Kiel Building Supply.
Kiel Building Supply, on the web at furnishanddesign.com. Read the Raving Fans section of the website and see what the customers have been saying. Or feel free to give Kiel a call anytime at 920-894-2424. Pekarske also uses several well-known local companies for key jobs on Pekarske home builds. Carpets Plus of America handles all the flooring needs and does so like no other. When you take a stroll through the huge Carpets Plus of America showroom in Manitowoc, you see why you need a pro to help you when it comes to flooring. The choices can be dizzying, from awesome hardwoods to state-of-the-art new carpet styles and materials.
We deal with Carpets Plus because there's good guys to work for. The install team is fantastic, so we know who's going to be installing our carpet and flooring. That's the biggest part about it. I think we can get carpet, a certain type of carpet or brand of carpet from just about anyone we want. But the thing is, we talk to Bob and we get that thing done right. And the install team is fantastic. So that's the whole thing with that. It gets us in the schedule, and we know the installers, and we know they do a great job.
Bob Dietering is the guy for flooring in this region. He is very proud of his Carpets Plus of America team. I asked him what separates Carpets Plus of America from the competitors.
The 2 things that we're doing better than the competition is certainly service. Without a doubt, there just is nothing that we're not going to do to keep the customer happy. Pricing is very easy to be competitive. That's the easy part of it. And I would say our biggest claim to fame is we have 7 installers that combined maybe have 150 years of experience, and they're doing the jobs right.
If you haven't shopped for flooring lately, and I hadn't, things have really changed. The hard surface choices, the green materials are awesome. But for Bob, it's much more about people than products. He gets emotional when he thinks about his customers and how they sustained his business when the home building bust hit a few years ago.
Certainly the business climate has changed, and it got tough for a while. I've been doing this for 30 years, and repeat and referral has been my success. And today I get a great kick, tells you how old I am, but I get a great kick out of having a younger couple come in that have just bought their first home. They come in, they ask, "Are you Bob?" And I go, "Yeah, that's me." And they go, "Well, Our parents told me if we're going to buy flooring, you're the guy to talk to.
Listen to your parents. Call Bob at Carpets Plus of America or stop in at 2718 Calumet Avenue in Manitowoc. Bob's a great guy who really cares about customer service. Czech Electric handles the electrical needs for Pekarske builders, and Madsen Tiling and Excavating moves lots of dirt for Pekarske. First, Czech Electric. What a great company. Jim Czech's father started the company back in 1963. Jim has been running it for well over 20 years now, and no matter what your electrical needs are, from simple wiring to a whole house automation system you can control from thousands of miles away, Czech will do it and do it the right way.
Since we've been building as Pekarske builders, I have been using Czech Electric. And they're the guys that always say, yeah, we can do it. That's the kind of guys they are. That's all they do. They always say, yep, we can do it. There's never, I don't know about that, or I don't know about this. It's always, yep, we can do it, and that's how they go. So they're really good guys. The guys they have out there, the lead people they have out there talking to the homeowners, extremely nice. And that's one thing we love about it, is that we have some people there that can actually talk to the homeowner. I don't have to be there. They go through the whole list of what they have to do, and they do a good job with it.
But first and foremost, we're about quality. Quality people doing a quality job. Whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, even new technologies such as wind energy and solar, we're involved in that. And the key phrase that we use is quality people doing a quality job.
Czech Electric, residential, commercial, industrial, home automation, solar, wind energy, you name it. Czech Electric, the difference is quality. Madsen Tiling and Excavating has a similar story to Czech Electric. Madsen Tiling and Excavating is a second-generation family business in which doing the job right every time is simply the only way to do it. Mark Pekarske says you need confidence in the guys who prepare your lot, and he has confidence in Madsen.
Madsen, they've been working for us since we started as Pekarske builders, and he graduated high school a couple of years younger than me, so I knew him the whole time I was growing up. But they do all of our excavations, so dig a basement, they do it. They do a septic system for us, they do it. So anything to do with the driveway, we did a subdivision down in Howards Grove, Wisconsin. It was a 27-lot subdivision. They did all the road work, they did all the septic system, or the sewers, they did all the storm sewers, and then they did everything like that. So yeah, they do a little bit of everything for us.
Madsen does lots of builder work, but more than half the company's business still comes from home and farm owners who know that the Madsen name is synonymous with quality work.
My message to employees is the customer is the one who makes your paycheck. It's not me. You need to make them happy, and if there's something not right, that is something was done not right, we stand behind it and take care of it.
Madsen Tiling and Excavating. Give Kevin Madsen a call with any of your excavating questions. Foundations, driveways, septic systems. If you need the earth moved, call Madsen. Well, one of the things I loved about doing this edition of Builder Spotlight Television on Pekarske Builders was speaking to Pekarske clients. All of them told a similar story. They say during the build, the Pekarske team kept them informed, stayed on budget, and stayed on schedule.
We had a pretty tight schedule being a parade home on here. We had a very tight schedule. He had it laid out, and you could go look at that schedule 3 weeks in advance, and he would have on there installing upstairs hardware in the bathroom. And you could come back on that day, pretty much to that hour, and that's what would be going on. Anybody that's talked to anybody, it's either you have had that experience, terrible experience building a house, or you know people who've had a terrible experience building a house. It's one or the other, and I'd heard the same things. I've heard of cost overruns, I've heard of bad delivery schedules, you name it, you hear those stories. Okay? And so you kind of come into it with a preconceived notion that this is going to be tough, but I'm going to gut it out and I'm going to get through it. I didn't find that at all to be the case with Mark. I was waiting at the very end of it when we finally cut our final check and took possession, that up until this point, this is going to go poorly, you know, because it hadn't happened yet. So it was an extremely pleasurable experience to go through that, you know, the processes of picking out the minute detail from your cabinetry to your flooring to all the things that you would never think of that you live in a house that you have to pick out. It was oddly kind of enjoyable to go pick that stuff out. You know, he had a timeline and a schedule when it needed to be done, and when he said that was when it was ready to go, it was ready to go, down to the day.
Another Pekarske home builder client, Brad Meisen, is a quality assurance expert. His wife, Terry, is a business analyst. These people know what good service and keeping a schedule is all about. and they love the way Pekarske handled their budget and their schedule.
One of the first questions I asked Mark was, timeline, when we're going to, when do we expect it? And unbeknownst to me, when I mentioned, do you guys put together a timeline to, from start to finish? And he actually does do a timeline from when the hole is dug and benchmarks different activities and start and stop activities until the end, and be damn close.
Aside from the organization, the Pekarske experience is a huge plus for buyers. Vic and Lynn Walsh hired Pekarske to build their home in Valders in 2010. They tell a good story about the beginning of their building process.
I actually interviewed 4 builders, 4 prospective builders, showed them our designs, and went over them with each builder and proceeded with bids. We had a couple of our contractors question the design, but we're definitely going to go ahead with it. But it was Mark who really sat us both down and said, are you really sold on this design? Because we turned to the internet and picked a design that we thought would work good. And he sat down and pointed out the flaws. In a no-nonsense, very nice way. He said, I understand what you're trying to achieve, but then pointed out the flaws of it and where it was going to cost us more money. And he then proceeded to find out what was important to us in the house we built, and we pretty much started over.
Was he right?
From that point. He was absolutely right.
The Walshes wound up with a wonderful Pekarske home, complete with a cool home theater room downstairs. And they have great feelings about Pekarske builders. They had built before with another builder 5 years earlier, and it was not a pleasant experience. This time was very different.
Mark did give me a list of past customers he had, and I took them up on the offer, and I did phone a few of them, and my main question was, did he hold his schedule? And they all said yes. They all said yes, and was pretty much highly recommended. So we went with it.
He gave us a Gantt chart in the beginning for a schedule, and you knew what was going to be going on at the house any given day. And he was within a day or two of everything happening, and you know if there's going to be a painter there, or drywallers, or how long the insulators are going to be there. The cabinet, everything was all within days.
Surprised you?
Yes, very much. Something that you have a hard copy of that you can actually see what's going to be happening.
Like all Pekarske homes, the Walshes' home was completed on time and on budget. That's a given at Pekarske. But another key positive with Pekarske is the general feeling of partnership that Pekarske has with clients. Mark Pekarske believes in lots of communication, unlike lots of other builders. Remember, the Walshes had built before and it had not gone well.
Not like my last experience at all, where you feel like you're just a nuisance and you're in the way, and I'll get to you when I get to you. Keep getting pushed off. If Mark didn't answer my phone call, he returned it typically within an hour. Even if he was going to be out of town or had some family issues, he told me in advance, just so you know if you're looking for me.
Lynn and Vic made some changes along the way, which some builders simply despise. Not Mark Pekarske. He believes that building should be a team effort, if that's what the client wants. If you want Pekarske to build your home and you arrive in a few months and move in, fine. But most people don't want that. They want to be involved, and they want to feel that they are valued. Many builders don't want you on their job site. Mark Pekarske encourages it.
We would always discuss it to make sure we were both on the same page, that a mistake wasn't made, that he fully understood what we were talking about before he proceeded. So we always had the quotes up front. We were actually living out of our camper when we built the house, and we had internet set up, and we had sometimes daily emails going back and forth. He would update the drawings to what changes we wanted to make, and I had them that night. We could discuss them and email them right back. There was always a strong confidence level. I mean, even when we would stop by the site here, the neighbors would come over and they're like, I can't believe how fast your house is going. I can't believe how hard those guys work.
You know, one of the questions I always ask builders is, how do you handle the punch list? A punch list, in case you don't know, is a list of things that the homeowner finds that are wrong. Once they move into the home, they're in there a little while and they call the builder up and say, hey, this is the punch list. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. Well, you know, builders always have punch lists, but when I asked Mark about that, he seemed a bit taken back, as if he didn't even have a punch list. Take a look.
Typically, we don't really have a punch list at all. We know what's got to happen. My guys make lists as we're going along, what has to happen. But we don't have a list that says this is wrong, this is wrong. What happens is when the persons are there and the homeowner moves in, they're going to find something. Maybe a very little thing, maybe it's some paint cracking or something going on, maybe some caulk or whatever it is. But I said just make a list. And what happens is after you get a couple things on a list, give me a call in a month, let me know if there's anything on that list. Sometimes we don't get a call again. Sometimes we get a call with a couple things on it. We say, you know what, we'll come back and check it. One thing we do that we know a lot of with the Wisconsin Energy Star homes is everything gets tested, performance tested. So when we get done with a house, we always tell people how it's going to perform before. Remember we talked about how much it's going to cost. We're going to save some money every month because we're building a very energy efficient house. So that's a claim we make. Like anyone can make a claim. But until you actually test it and find out how it's performing, that's what really matters.
Remember, most builders have a long punch list to deal with after somebody moves in. Listen to Lynn Walsh. She didn't really have a formal punch list when her family moved into their Pekarske home.
He got us in here ahead of time, and any things that were left undone were done the following week. Yeah, he did not want to let us down on that move-in date.
Give Pekarske Builders a call. Check out the website. The contact information is right there on your screen. If you're in the early stages of building your home, perhaps just shopping for a lot, call Mark Pekarske. You will really appreciate his expertise, and he's a nice guy. Speaking of which, Mark uses some really great partners on his homes, and one of them is Russell Guns. Russell Guns Plastering's been around for a very long time, and if you look at the walls in a Pekarske home, you can see the Guns difference.
We've been meeting Russell Guns. I know him for quite a few years, and really I met him at the Home Builders Association, and through that association that's how you get to meet different vendors. And he always comes, and he's always a nice guy to talk to, and finally I started using him, and he's working out fantastic. Just a good group of guys, and he does a fantastic job.
The great guys from Guns Plastering work all over the region, from Green Bay to Milwaukee and in between. If you need to match a wall and a remodel, for example, Guns Plastering are experts. They are true craftsmen with older plastering techniques that you just don't see anymore, and cutting-edge styles, all the new techniques as well, to give your home a very special look and feel. Over 30 years in business, you don't last that long unless you're good. Guns Plastering. Give them a call. You'll be glad you did. Pekarske Builders is also proud to work with Ellerman Glass. For all of its glass and homes that Pekarske builds, Ellerman is very established. Back in 1958, Ellerman started as a family business with a huge range of glass services for home, business, even auto glass. Mark and Dave liked Ellerman so much, they bought the company.
We do auto glass, heavy shower doors, so there's these beautiful shower doors. You're probably going to be looking at some of those going to a site. Those kind of things we do there. Just about anything, replacement glass, fireplace glass, plexiglass, high-temp ceramic glass, just about commercial glass. Just about anything you can think of with a glass product in it, we take care of it there.
Ellerman Glass, 2507 Marshall Street, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. On the web at ellermanglass.com. Come in for a custom mirror frame, have a window repaired or replaced, incredible custom glass shower doors that will change the face of your bathroom in a very compelling way. Ellerman Glass does all kinds of custom picture frames for wonderful gifts, glass tabletops, screen repairs, repair on those windshield chips, and full replacement of your auto glass if you need it. If it's glass, Ellerman does it, and more. You know, I travel all over the country doing this program, and I have met some of America's best builders, and Mark Pekarske is among them. And one of the things that separates him is that he is very progressive about educating himself and his people. He is on top of the new technologies. He's an engineer by trade, so he's interested in those types of things. And the homeowners who buy from Pekarske really benefit from that.
Also what we do is put it in 3D for them so they can better understand. versus just a piece of paper looking down at you. It's very hard for the homeowner to understand what's going on. Even for us sometimes it's hard to understand and visualize what it's going to look like. So we put it on 3D, spin it around, they can understand what it looks like, how it feels. We can put colors on it, we can put grass down, whatever they want to give them a good idea of what they're looking for. And then we just, then they can really visualize on the outside and on the inside.
Being able to see the house, see how the furniture will look is so powerful. This drawing shows a pergola that Mark is building for Chuck Storm and his wife. It was a little project that Mark was helping the Storms out with, but I found it so telling that Mark even drew this project out first in 3D so the Storms could see exactly what their pergola would look like. And look at it in real life. It looks like that. It's pretty amazing. Most Pekarske clients are simply blown away by the pre-planning and science that goes into a Pekarske home.
What he did is he took an existing plan of his, and he's got the latest and greatest CAD system, and we tweaked it to our needs. Like the front foyer here was not on the plan, and we felt that we needed a front foyer, and we just moved rooms around, and as he's playing with it, we move doors around and move a closet here or there, and you know, it's not like you had to send it out to somebody to hand draw. It was done right there when you're sitting there.
Pre-planning and then testing the house when it's finished. That's right, before Mark ever hands a homeowner the keys, he pays an independent testing agency to come in and test that Energy Star house to make sure it's as efficient as it can be.
We get done with the job and we test it, and how does it perform? How are the bath fans ventilation? How is the HRV, the heat recovery ventilation? How is that thing working? How is everything working in the house? So they do the testing. How tight is the house? And if it's a very, very tight house, it's very, very good.
Mark says he loves the diversity of his job and this beautiful place in which he and his wife are raising their 4 children. The lake, the change of seasons, and most of all, the people, Pekarske clients who love their homes.
It's been great. I have not had him back here for anything to repair on here, and he lives 2 miles down the road. So if there was something wrong with it, you can bet that I would have called him up and he'd be up here. Now he's helped me out on a few projects around the house just as a friend, and he's close by and he has no problem with that. And it's just a kind of, I guess, relationship that I have with him now. And that's all come from building our home, and you can see that the final product and the response that we got on the parade of homes as it went through was all positive. And none of that has changed now. I don't have what I've heard from some other friends of mine who went through the new process. After a year, your house is going to settle, and you're going to get cracks in your drywall, and you're going to start seeing this and other issues. None of that has shown up. You know, here we are pushing 3 years now in the home, and no problems. I mean, I really couldn't be happier.
I would use Mark again. He was wonderful about everything. I mean, I really didn't have anything that I had an issue with the whole time, and I've heard horror stories from people, you know, what they went through with their builders and how they had problems and couldn't get answers and things like that, and we never really had that.
Well, that's it for this edition of Builders Spotlight Television from the banks of Lake Michigan here in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. A beautiful place with a great community, very nice people. I urge you, if you live anywhere in this region and are considering building a new home or any construction or remodeling project, call the great people at Pekarske Builders. Mark is a trustworthy guy who does everything with integrity. He's a straight shooter, one of America's best builders. For Builders Spotlight Television, I'm Rich Noonan. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.